Good evening, and thanks for keeping a date with us on the program Transforming Agriculture in Nigeria. I'm your host, Gabriel Ojile. The administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu upon assumption of office declared a state of emergency on food security. On the 21st of August 2023, two ministers of agriculture and food security assumed office to lead the implementation of policies and plans that will actualize the president's thinking for the agricultural sector. How well has it been steering the ship towards ensuring food security in Nigeria? This would be the focus in this review of the activities of the ministry since the new ministers assumed office. These and other segments make up our package this evening. Keep watching.
Every part of Nigeria has something to offer.
Transforming agriculture in Nigeria begins with news across the agricultural sector. In our lineup tonight, Agri Minister calls for collaboration to ensure food security, and Federal Minister of Agriculture and Food Security honors Umahihi as he bows out of civil service. Details coming up shortly. Please stay tuned. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, has called for collaboration between the ministry, state governments, and development partners to ensure food security in Nigeria.
And the federal government in our collective...
The minister stated this at a press briefing in Abuja. Abubakar said that for the ministry to remain committed to ensuring food security in Nigeria, it will need the collaboration of other stakeholders to achieve this goal.
Collaboration with states, local governments, traditional rulers, NGOs, farmer associations, and relevant MDAs will be crucial in achieving the desired objectives. We seek the support of all stakeholders in the agricultural sector to overcome the challenges and ensure a successful intervention despite time constraints. The ministry is focused and ramping up massive production of stable crops using technology and mechanization to achieve this goal.
The minister also appreciated the farmers and the governor of Jigawa State, who also paid him a courtesy call during the press briefing for their support in the wheat farming program. The governor of Jigawa State, Umar Namadi, also appreciated the minister and staff for the collaboration with the state. He promised that farmers in Jigawa State will deliver on the production of wheat and other crops supported by the ministry.
I want to assure you that the Jigawa State government will continue to cooperate with you and ensure that we have achieved this food security for this nation. We have the resources in terms of land and in terms of farmers that are ready to go into farming. The Honourable Minister, we have put in place robust programs that will assist us to drive farming in Jigawa State. I want to assure you, as of today, we are updating our farmers register. So I'm sure by the time we will commence the dry season farming for rice, we'll have a complete farmers database register in Jigawa State.
The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Dr. Ernest Afolabi Umahihi, recently retired from civil service and handed over to the Director of Human Resources of the ministry. Dr. Ernest has been the Permanent Secretary of the ministry for the past 3 years. Speaking during the handover ceremony, Umahihi appreciated the ministers and the directors of the ministry for the good working relationship with him throughout his service in the ministry. Umahihi further urged the directors to continue working hard with the ministers and the incoming Permanent Secretary to achieve the food security agenda of the present administration.
My advice to you at this time is just to say, attention is on this ministry. Very heavy attention is on this ministry because we believe this is the sector that can have a lot of impact on the common man. We all have gone through festive periods, and you know how the prices of foodstuff has skyrocketed. And the government is ready to give the funding to make sure they're able to change the narrative. So it's for you as directors and to guide the incoming PAMSEC and ministers on how to achieve that.
Continue with your legacy.
Speaking shortly after the handover, the Director of Human Resource, Oluwatoyin Alade, appreciated Umahiye for his leadership qualities and positive impact he has made in the ministry. She assured Umahiye that the directors will uphold his track records.
The only thing we can use to pay you back for your kindness is to ensure that we continue in the way you have taught us, in the ways you have shown us, and that we don't depart from it, and we continue with your legacy. And we can assure you, sir, that we will not let you down.
On the sideline, there was send-off ceremony in the honor of Dr. Ernest Afolabi Umahiye. The party was attended by the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, other ministers and permanent secretaries from different ministries, directors of the ministry, staff, friends, and well-wishers. Food security remains the bedrock of many nations across the globe. To ensure food security for the nation, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu declared a national state of emergency on food security and appointed 2 experienced senators to steer the ship as Ministers of Agriculture and Food Security. Since the assumption of office of these ministers, a lot has happened. In our next segment, Record of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, we shall review some of the actions and activities of the ministers and how they have pursued the mandate of ensuring food security in Nigeria. Keep watching.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on 13th of July 2023 declared a national state of emergency on food security and directed that all matters pertaining to food and water availability be treated as essential livelihood items and included within the National Security Council. The president also changed the name of Agric Ministry from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. Subsequently, the president appointed Senator Abubakar Kyari as the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security and Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi as the Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. The 2 ministers of Agriculture and Food Security arrived the ministry on the 21st of August 2023 to assume duty shortly after they were sworn into office by the president. They were accompanied by a crowd of dignitaries, friends, well-wishers and supporters. Amongst the dignitaries was Governor Umar Zulum of Borno State. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, appreciated everyone for the felicitations. Abubakar declared his readiness and willingness to commit to the task given to him by the president, bearing in mind the challenges of food security in the country.
We all know the challenges that we face now. Hunger is one of the big problems that we have in this country. And when I say hunger, it also means food. And there are challenges in food production. Insecurity is one, flooding is another, pests and other issues. But for me, and I think my colleague here, and even state governors, the biggest hope we have is the political will driven by the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, in mere mentioning in his renewed agenda, renewed hope agenda. And I also see that hope, that commitment in him when he declared the food emergency in the country. On the first day, he announced to the nation when he was sworn in.
Also during the assumption of office, Senator Aliyu Sabi, Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, shared his excitement to be working with his counterpart, Senator Abubakar Kyari, in piloting the affairs of the ministry and his readiness and commitment to the task of ensuring food security in Nigeria.
It's my honor and privilege to take on the next 4 years, inshallah, with the Renew Hope agenda of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, and to ensure that the rechristening of Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is not without a purpose.
After the assumption of office, the ministers received briefings from departments of the ministry, as well as heads of agencies and parastatals under the ministry with a view to understanding where they are, what is going on, and what needs to be done to ensure food security. The Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, former Permanent Secretary, Special Advisor to the President on Policy Coordination, and a technical team from the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and the Agric Ministry also met in Abuja to set deliverables and priorities to achieve food security in Nigeria. Speaking during the meeting, the Special Advisor to the President on Policy Coordination, Hadiza Bala Usman, stated that the purpose of the meeting was to dialogue with the ministers and the staff of the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to set deliverable for the ministry to actualize Mr. President's priority on food security.
We felt the need to come here to discuss with you, to make you be part of this document preparation.
With the very team we met on ground in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, I have no doubt in my mind that we are going to change the narrative.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rita.
The result of this period of intense consultations and review saw the ministry unveiling its blueprint of action for the next 4 years of this administration.
We have done some very tremendous work, and today the Honorable Minister will be unveiling to you what our focal areas are.
The target is to produce wheat of over 70,000 hectares across the wheat production zone of the country and an expected yield of 875,000 metric tons to our food reserve.
Subsequently, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, in a press briefing on 6th of October 2023, unveils the roadmap on the way forward in the Nigeria's agricultural sector in achieving food security in line with presidential priorities and the mandates of the ministry.
The target is to
The Honorable Minister stated that the ministry's area of focus would span through immediate, short-term, medium and long-term priorities. The immediate priority areas include certification of available planting materials, aggressive preparation for dry season farming for wheat, maize and horticultural crops.
The target is to produce wheat of over 70,000 hectares across the wheat production zone of the country and an expected yield of 875,000 metric tons to our food reserve. Blending of appropriate fertilizers to support this year's dry season farming while making provisions for next year's farming season well in advance. Providing the trainer for extension agents involved in dry season farming in collaboration with wheat producing states and other partners such as flour mills.
The minister highlighted the short-term priority of the ministry between 2023 and 2024, which include food security stakeholders analysis and mapping, sufficient investment in animal feed production, strengthening agriculture and food security institutions for the task ahead, strengthening agricultural research system, establish a national gene bank, among others.
Number 4, reform the National Agricultural Research System to serve as an engine for growth, for innovative solutions, to strategic value chains, increase productivity yields of our food security and export crops.
The minister also highlighted the medium-term plans between 2024 to 2026 to include development of digital mobile-based agro-system and e-extension platform to support farmers, among others. The Honorable Minister said long-term actions will include development of national agricultural database, repositioning of universities of agriculture, mechanization, among others.
We have also examined the operating environment and want to be guided by the following critical success factors. Farmers, producers, processors, and marketers shall be given capacity building to increase skill set and technical know-how for enhanced productivity and to reduce wastages. Partnerships and collaborations anchored on trust and mutual beneficial schemes. Evidence-based results and factual engagements will drive the processes with all stakeholders.
In matching words with actions, the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security embarked on a visit to Jigawa and Kano states in preparation for the dry season farming of wheat and other crops. This was earmarked as one of the immediate actions to boost food production. The trip was made to seed companies, government of Jigawa State, and a private agro-allied farm, among others. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security alongside his entourage were also in a warehouse in Hadejia area of Jigawa State, where wheat seeds were stored for the next farming season. After the assessment of the seed companies and the available seed in the country, the ministry imported about 6,750 metric tons of wheat seeds to be used together with available seeds for use in the dry season farming.
Recently, we had the importation of the wheat seeds from Mexico. That is the Bola 100 variety, which has been tested in this country. It has been very successful. And because that is what we can afford, about 6,750 metric tons. But then we need more than that. Then we have our local seeds, which are also Bola 100, but that is not enough. It's just about 5,800 metric tons.
Following these developments, the federal government on Saturday, 25th of November 2023, flagged off the 2023 Dry Season Farming Initiative to overcome seasonal limitation of stable food production in Nigeria and ensure food security in the country. The initiative was officially flagged off in Jigawa State by the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari. The minister during the occasion stated that the Dry Season Farming Initiative is a $134 million loan facility supported by the African Development Bank, targeted at providing support to farmers to increase production of staple foods such as rice, maize, cassava, wheat, among others.
The aim is to increase crop yield by at least 20% compared to the previous year. These high values staples will be joined by others like soybeans and sorghum in the wet season. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, our farmers remain our most prized assets as a nation, given that they produce the bulk of the food consumed in country. As such, His Excellency Mr. President has charged us to ensure that they are adequately supported to increase their productivity.
In an effort to enhance agribusiness in Nigeria, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security within the period under review also commissioned the Agribusiness Incubation Center of the Federal University Lokoja, Kogi State. The facility was built by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. Speaking during the commissioning ceremony, the former Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Dr. Ernest Afolabi Omakihe, stated that the Agribusiness Incubation Center was built to enhance practical and innovative approach in agriculture and encourage youth and women in agribusiness. Umakihe added that the center would also facilitate trade and investment in agriculture.
The Incubation Center is being established as a special center of excellence to support and promote food security in Nigeria and to support youth and women empowerment, as well as promote employment generation, wealth creation, poverty reduction through the development of viable agribusiness entrepreneurship skills in different agricultural value chains across the country.
Also during the ceremony, the Vice-Chancellor, Federal University of Lokoja, Professor Olayemi Akiwumi, appreciated the ministry for the incubation center and the access road.
I want to say that Federal University of Lokoja is very grateful to you.
The ministry, under the leadership of the present ministers, has also distributed palliative to the farmers who were affected by flood in Abuja to stay in business and to boost production in Nigeria. The palliatives distributed to them include poultry feed, pig feeds, ruminant concentrates, salt lick, transport crates, among others. The beneficiaries were urged to make use of the items judiciously to boost animal production.
The farmers that are in our midst today, as we go back to our different farms, I want us to make use of whatever input that has been given to us judiciously. We know we cannot address the impact of climate change on us, but as a ministry, we can always try our best, which you will all agree with me that the ministry has been doing in one way or the other.
There were also capacity building of farmers on what they needed to know to do better in the livestock subsector, and the beneficiaries expressed happiness for the palliatives and pledged to properly utilize them.
With this, believe you me, grassroots agriculture will metamorphose into from production to processing and to exportation as well.
Within the 4 months and 2 weeks of the present Ministers of Agriculture and Food Security, there have been a lot of stakeholders engagement meetings organized by the ministry in collaboration with other partners towards ensuring food security. These include Africa-wide Agric Extension Week, launch of extension policy, and an extension training manual, among others. During the African-wide Extension Week, the Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, shared the experience and the direction of the ministry in agricultural extension in Nigeria.
The government has come up with a program such as the National Agricultural Growth Scheme, Agro Pocket, where it is planned to increase our production, the output of our production, by supporting farmers with improved seeds, fertilizers, both organic and inorganic, and irrigation facilities at a supportive price, so that increased productivity and ultimately higher income for the farmers can be guaranteed. Here, we are also not unmindful of the fact that the cost of fueling an irrigation pump today has increased. And so we are looking in the way of renewable energy as an alternative so that you bring down the cost. So the irrigation pumps we are talking about now is those ones that will be driven by solar power. In some instances also we are looking at the electric ones.
Also during the 6th Africa-wide Agricultural Extension Week, the ministry also launched the first National Agricultural Extension Policy, which spells out the role of different stakeholders and strategies to deliver modern extension services to farmers.
A lot has happened and plans are in place to do more. Let us join hands with the government to ensure food security in the country. The second part of this review will come your way next week. Same time, same station. I am Gabriel Ojile. Do have a pleasant night rest.